Are you sure you're drinking enough water? It sounds like such a simple question, doesn't it? But what if I told you that the way many seniors approach hydration, even those who believe they're doing everything right, could be quietly undermining their energy, their clarity, and even their safety? It's a hidden challenge, one that often gets dismissed as just getting older. So many of us, especially as we move past 50, 60, or 70, might feel that afternoon slump, that bit of dizziness when we stand, or that frustrating brain fog, and we just sigh and think, well, that's aging for you. But could it be that the real culprit, or at least a major accomplice, is something as fundamental as your body not getting the hydration it truly craves? It's more common than you'd ever imagine. You see, as our bodies wisely journey through the years, the way we process and perceive the need for water changes, often without us even noticing. Our natural thirst alarm doesn't always ring as loud as it used to. Our kidneys, those amazing internal filters, might not be as efficient at holding on to precious fluids. And let's be honest, sometimes certain medications or even the simple worry about extra trips to the bathroom can make us a bit hesitant about reaching for that glass of water. The result? A kind of slow, creeping dehydration that doesn't shout its presence, but whispers its effects into every corner of your well-being. This isn't just about quenching a dry mouth. Oh no, it's about much more than that. We're talking about how well your heart pumps, how sharp your memory stays, how steady you are on your feet, and even how resilient your mood is. Today, we're not just going to tell you to drink more water. You've heard that before. Instead, we're going to uncover 5 common hydration missteps that many seniors, perhaps even you, might be making without a second thought. These are the subtle habits that can, day by day, chip away at your vitality. But here's the good news. Understanding these pitfalls is the first giant leap towards feeling significantly better. Have you ever found yourself feeling unexpectedly drained after a simple outing? Or perhaps a little unsteady when you first get out of your chair? Maybe those moments of forgetfulness seem to be popping up more often. Well, your hydration strategy, or lack thereof, could be a key piece of that puzzle. So let's dive in, take a closer look at what's really happening, and discover what you can start doing today to turn things around. Are you ready to feel more vibrant? Let's begin. Now, this one sounds almost too obvious, doesn't it? For most of our lives, we've been conditioned. If you're thirsty, drink. And for a younger body, that often works just fine. But here's a crucial truth that many seniors overlook. As we age, that built-in thirst mechanism, that reliable little nudge from our brain, can become surprisingly unreliable. It starts to whisper when it used to shout, or sometimes it doesn't even bother to whisper at all. Think about it. By the time you actually register a sensation of thirst, your body might already be significantly behind in its fluid needs. What feels like a minor urge for a sip of water could actually be your system signaling, "Hey, I'm already running on fumes here." This isn't a sign of weakness, it's a natural physiological shift. Our bodies become less sensitive to the early cues of dehydration. And this is where the danger quietly lurks. If you're solely relying on feeling thirsty to dictate when you drink, you're likely underhydrating, day in and day out. It's not just about a dry mouth. Dehydration can manifest in so many other ways. That persistent fatigue that coffee just can't seem to fix. Unexpected muscle cramps, dry or flaky skin that lotions barely touch, constipation that becomes a regular battle, or even periods of dizziness and confusion that you might wrongly attribute to something else entirely. I've spoken with so many individuals who've told me, "But I just don't feel thirsty that often," and I believe them. But my question back is always, how do you feel overall? Often, those nagging little symptoms they've been putting up with could see a remarkable improvement with a more proactive approach to hydration. It's like waiting for your car's engine to overheat before you check the coolant. By then, some stress has already occurred. So what's the smarter way forward? Don't wait for thirst to sound the alarm. Instead, build hydration into the rhythm of your day. Think of it like scheduling important appointments. Start your morning with a glass of water, perhaps warm water with a squeeze of lemon, which many find quite pleasant. Aim to have a drink with each meal and between meals. Keep a water bottle or a favorite glass visible in your line of sight, whether you're reading, watching television, or working on a hobby. These visual cues are surprisingly powerful. Some might worry, but if I drink when I'm not thirsty, won't I feel bloated or uncomfortable? Initially, perhaps for a day or two as your body adjusts, but very quickly, consistent hydration starts to feel normal. You might even find yourself noticing subtle body signals you were previously missing. A clearer mind in the afternoon, more suppleness in your joints, or just a general sense of well-being. And here's a little tip I often share. Pay attention to the color of your urine. Pale yellow, like light straw, generally means you're in a good hydration zone. If it's darker, like apple juice, it's a clear sign your body is calling out for more fluids. Is this something you've been overlooking? It's a simple check that can tell you so much. This is a common one. Many folks think, well, I drink plenty of coffee in the morning, maybe a soda with lunch, and a nice cup of tea in the afternoon. Surely that counts towards my hydration, right? And while it's true that these beverages do contain water, it's not quite that straightforward, especially for seniors. What if those very drinks are, in some ways, working against your hydration goals? Here's the thing. Beverages like coffee, many traditional teas, and especially sugary sodas or even some fruit juices can have what we call a diuretic effect. Now, that's a fancy word, but it simply means they can encourage your kidneys to produce more urine, causing you to lose fluids more quickly. So, while you're taking fluid in, you might actually be prompting your body to flush out more than you realize, potentially leading to a net loss over time, or at best, not truly replenishing what you need. Think of it this way. Imagine trying to fill a leaky bucket. If you're pouring in liquids that also make the leak bigger, you're not making much progress, are you? Now, I'm not saying you have to give up your morning coffee or your afternoon tea entirely. For many, these are cherished rituals, but it's about balance and awareness. If these are your primary sources of fluid throughout the day, you might be unintentionally shortchanging your body's deep hydration needs. Sugary drinks, like sodas, and many commercial fruit juices pose another challenge. The high sugar content can actually draw water out of your cells to help process that sugar, which isn't what we want for optimal hydration. Plus, they often come with a lot of empty calories and can contribute to other health concerns. What about diet sodas? While they skip the sugar, some artificial sweeteners can have their own issues, and they still don't offer the pure, straightforward hydration your body craves. My personal take? Water should always be your number one go-to. It's what your body is designed to use most efficiently. But if plain water feels a bit, well, plain, there are so many wonderful ways to make it more appealing. Try infusing it with slices of cucumber, lemon, lime, or even berries. A sprig of mint can be incredibly refreshing. Herbal teas, think chamomile, peppermint, ginger, or rooibos, are generally excellent hydrators and come with their own gentle benefits. Broth-based soups are another fantastic way to get fluids and nutrients. The key is to be mindful. Ask yourself, for every cup of coffee or tea, am I also drinking a glass of water? Am I choosing water first when I feel a bit parched, or am I reaching for something else out of habit? This small shift in perspective, prioritizing true hydrators, can make a world of difference. Are you ready to perhaps rethink your drink choices for better energy and well-being? We've all been there. The day gets busy, you realize you haven't had much to drink, and suddenly you think, oh no, I need to catch up. So you grab the largest glass you can find and gulp down a huge amount of water all at once. It feels like you're doing the right thing, making up for lost time. But what if this quick fix approach is actually less effective and potentially uncomfortable for your body, especially as a senior? Here's why. Your body, particularly your kidneys, can only process a certain amount of fluid per hour. When you suddenly flood your system with a large volume of water, it's like sending a tidal wave through a gentle stream. Your kidneys go into overdrive trying to excrete the excess, which means much of that water might pass right through you without being properly absorbed by your cells and tissues where it's truly needed. And what's the immediate consequence of that? More frequent and often more urgent trips to the bathroom. This very experience can then discourage you from drinking enough water regularly. It becomes a frustrating cycle. You avoid drinking because you don't want to be running to the restroom. Then you feel you need to catch up, which leads to more bathroom trips. It's a common reason I hear for why people, especially seniors, concerned about nighttime awakenings or incontinence, limit their fluid intake. Beyond the inconvenience, drinking too much water too quickly can, in some situations, dilute the electrolytes in your bloodstream, particularly sodium. While rare for most, a condition called hyponatremia can occur, leading to symptoms like nausea, headache, confusion, and muscle weakness. This is more of a concern with extreme overhydration, but it underscores the point that your body prefers a steady, consistent supply of water, not sudden deluges. Think of watering a potted plant. If you pour a whole bucket of water on it at once, most of it will just run out the bottom. But if you water it slowly and steadily, the soil has time to absorb the moisture, and it reaches the roots where it's needed. Your body is much the same. Sipping water gradually throughout the day allows for better absorption. It gives your cells time to take in what they need, supporting everything from digestion to brain function more effectively. So, what's the more sensible strategy? Aim for a sip and steady approach rather than gulp and go. Keep a water bottle or glass nearby and take small, regular sips. If you find you've gone a few hours without drinking, don't try to compensate with a huge amount. Just resume your gentle, steady intake. Try drinking a small glass of water when you wake up with each meal, and perhaps during commercial breaks if you're watching TV or after a short walk. Many people find that room temperature water, or even slightly warm water, is easier to sip consistently than ice-cold water, which can sometimes feel a bit jarring to the system. The goal is to make hydration a gentle, continuous background rhythm to your day, not an emergency intervention. Could this shift from gulping to grazing on water be a game changer for your comfort and hydration levels? Now, this is a big one, and it's something that isn't talked about nearly enough. When we think about staying hydrated, our minds usually go to how much water we're drinking. But what about what might be causing us to lose fluids, or interfering with our body's ability to stay balanced? For many seniors, medications play a significant, yet often silent role. Did you know that a wide array of common prescription and even over-the-counter drugs can affect your hydration levels? The most well-known are diuretics, often called water pills. These are frequently prescribed for conditions like high blood pressure or heart failure, and they work by helping your body get rid of excess salt and water. While crucial for managing these health issues, they inherently increase your risk of dehydration if you're not consciously increasing your fluid intake to compensate. But it's not just diuretics. Many other types of medications can contribute to fluid loss or a sensation of dryness that impacts hydration. Antihistamines, often used for allergies, can have a drying effect. Some medications for depression or anxiety can do the same. Certain pain relievers, drugs for overactive bladder, and even some sleep aids can influence your body's fluid balance or your perception of thirst. Given that many seniors are managing multiple health conditions and taking several medications, the cumulative effect on hydration can be quite profound. You might be experiencing symptoms like persistent dry mouth, unexplained fatigue, dizziness, or even constipation, and not realize that your medications could be a contributing factor by subtly dehydrating you. It's a sneaky problem because the effects can build up slowly over time. You might not feel acutely thirsty, but your body is still operating with less fluid than it ideally needs. What's my advice here? First, become an informed patient. When you're prescribed a new medication, or even with your current ones, don't hesitate to ask your doctor or pharmacist, could this medication affect my hydration needs? Understanding potential side effects is empowering. Secondly, pay close attention to how you feel. If you notice increased dryness, more frequent urination without drinking more, or any of those other subtle signs of dehydration after starting a new medication or changing a dose, it's worth mentioning to your healthcare provider. You may need to consciously sip more water throughout the day to counteract these effects. This doesn't mean you should ever alter your medication dosage yourself, absolutely not. But it does mean working with your healthcare team to manage both your medical conditions and your hydration. Sometimes, simply adjusting the timing of when you take a diuretic and being more mindful of drinking water consistently can make a big difference, especially in reducing nighttime bathroom trips. Also, take a look at any over-the-counter products or supplements you use regularly. Some of these can also have dehydrating effects. It's all about creating a complete picture. Your medications are there to help you, but being proactive about hydration ensures they can do their job without inadvertently leaving you feeling depleted. Is it time for a conversation with your doctor about this often overlooked connection? Our final misstep is a really common one: treating hydration as if it's a static, unchanging requirement. Many people hear a general guideline, like drink 8 glasses of water a day, and they try to stick to that, day in and day out, regardless of what else is going on. But here's the reality: your body's hydration needs are dynamic. They fluctuate based on the weather, your activity level, your overall health, and even what you eat. Think about it. On a hot summer day, especially if you're spending time outdoor, you're naturally going to lose more fluids through sweat than you would on a cool, sedentary day spent inside. Even if you don't feel like you're perspiring heavily, and seniors often sweat less noticeably, your body is working harder to stay cool, and that requires more water. The same is true in very dry environments, like an artificially heated home in winter, which can quietly sap moisture from your skin and respiratory system. Then there's physical activity. Whether it's a gentle walk, some light gardening, a fitness class, or even just a busy day of errands, movement increases your body's demand for fluids. Your muscles are working, your heart rate is up, and your body is generating heat. All of this requires adequate water, not just for cooling, but for optimal muscle function, joint lubrication, and efficient circulation. Yet, how many of us consciously think, "I was more active today, so I need a bit more water"? Often, we don't, and that's when fatigue or even cramps can sneak up on us. Illness is another critical factor. If you have a fever or are experiencing vomiting or diarrhea, your body loses fluids at an accelerated rate, and your need for rehydration becomes much more urgent. Even certain foods, particularly salty or highly processed ones, can increase your body's demand for water to help process the excess sodium. The solution isn't to become obsessed with measuring every drop, but to cultivate a greater awareness of these influencing factors. Before your day begins, or as it unfolds, ask yourself, what's the weather like? What activities do I have planned? Am I feeling under the weather? Based on the answers, make small adjustments to your fluid intake. It might mean an extra glass or two of water, or being more diligent about sipping throughout the day. One strategy I often recommend is pre-hydrating. If you know you're going to be more active or out in the heat, start increasing your water intake a little beforehand. Continue to sip during the activity and make sure to rehydrate afterward. It's about supporting your body proactively, not just reacting when you already feel depleted. And for those who worry about bathroom access when out and about, remember that chronic mild dehydration can actually irritate the bladder and sometimes worsen urgency. Consistent, adequate hydration can often lead to better bladder function over time. Your hydration plan shouldn't be written in stone. It needs to be flexible, adaptable, and responsive to your life. By tuning into these daily variables, you're not just drinking water. You're intelligently managing one of your body's most fundamental needs. Could a more personalized and adaptive approach to hydration be what you need to feel your best, no matter what the day holds? So there we have it. 5 common ways that our best intentions around hydration can sometimes go slightly astray, especially as we navigate the wisdom of our senior years. From not recognizing our changing thirst cues, to misunderstanding which fluids truly hydrate, to the timing of our intake, the influence of medications, and the need to adapt to our daily lives, it's clear that staying well hydrated is about much more than just occasionally remembering to drink some water. It's about recognizing that hydration is a cornerstone of your energy, your mental clarity, your physical stability, and your overall sense of well-being. These missteps we've discussed aren't meant to make you feel worried, but rather to empower you with knowledge. Because when you understand why something is happening, you gain the power to make small, meaningful changes. Perhaps you've recognized a habit or two in your own routine. Maybe you've had that aha moment, connecting a lingering symptom to a potential hydration shortfall. That's wonderful. That awareness is the very first step. The journey to better health isn't about achieving instant perfection. It's about making conscious, informed choices, one sip at a time, one day at a time. Remember, your body thrives on balance and consistency. Prioritizing pure water, sipping steadily throughout the day, listening to your body's more subtle signals, being mindful of how medications or your daily activities might be affecting your fluid needs. These are the strategies that build a strong foundation of health. This isn't just about avoiding the discomforts of dehydration. It's about unlocking more energy for the things you love, maintaining the sharpness of your mind, supporting the strength and steadiness of your body, and truly enhancing the quality of your everyday life. Here on our channel, we believe that aging vibrantly is entirely possible, and it often comes down to understanding these fundamental aspects of self-care. It's about choosing to invest in your well-being with simple, sustainable habits. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect. Which of these hydration missteps resonated most with you? And more importantly, what's one small change you feel inspired to make in your own hydration habits starting today? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights and experiences can be incredibly valuable to others in our community. If you found this information helpful and believe it could benefit someone you know, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to share it. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more practical tips and empowering insights designed to help you live your healthiest, most vibrant life. Thank you so much for watching, and here's to your health, one refreshing, well-timed sip at a time.